Good evening and welcome to the Carnegie Town Hall. This meeting of the Sioux Falls City Council will begin in a few moments. The City Council meets on the first, second, and third Tuesday of each month at 7 o'clock p.m. and serves as the city's policymaking and legislative body. Each meeting is governed by Robert's Rules of Order unless those guidelines conflict with city ordinance or charter. City Council meetings offer an opportunity for citizens to speak directly to their elected representatives. Those in attendance are invited to address the Council during the public input segment at the beginning of the agenda. At that time, any issue that is not subject to formal action later in the agenda can be addressed. Testimony that concerns a resolution or an ordinance's second reading is only allowed when those specific agenda items are being addressed by the Council. When addressing the Council, citizens should speak directly into the microphones at the podium and state their names for the record after being recognized by the Chair. To accommodate and respect all viewpoints, citizen comments are limited by ordinance to no more than 5 minutes each. Comments should be respectful and focused on providing new information that will benefit the Council's deliberative process. The Chair reserves the right to limit the number of speakers. City Council meetings are broadcast live on CityLink and online at www.siouxfalls.org. Information regarding the City Council, its committees, meetings, briefings, and members is available by visiting www.siouxfalls.org/council or by calling the Council office at 605-367-8085. Thank you for your interest in Sioux Falls City government.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's City Council meeting. It is Tuesday, August 16th, and we certainly thank you for being here tonight, as well as if you're watching on TV, thanks for watching us on TV as well. We'll start our meeting by introducing you to your City Council.
Council members Erpenbach.
Here.
Kiley.
Yes.
Neitzert.
Here.
Rolfing.
Here.
Selberg.
Present.
Starr.
Here.
Staley.
Here.
Erickson.
Here.
Councilors, thank you for being here tonight. We appreciate it. We have Pastor Wade Coffey, who's here tonight. And Pastor Wade, this is his first time to lead us in the invocation, and we're very, very blessed to have him here. He's with Celebrate Community Church here in Sioux Falls, which is touching a ton of lives and families in our great city and this area. So, Pastor Wade, welcome. What we'd ask is that everybody stand for the invocation and then remain standing for our Pledge of Allegiance. Pastor Wade, welcome.
Thank you, Mike. If you bow your heads with me. Heavenly Father, thank you for this day, and thank you for the privilege to be able to pray for, with, into, and over these incredible men and women. God, you've given them the gift of leadership, and you've entrusted the keys of the city to them. What an awesome responsibility. So I thank you for them, for their dedication, their leadership, and their service. God, in any leadership, leaders deal with forces that work for unity, but also forces that work in opposition and for divisiveness. So I pray that you help them to lead with one mind, one heart, and one spirit. God, where there's vision, the people thrive. I pray that you give them clear vision, wisdom, courage, and the strength to persevere. God, your word declares that in all things you work for the good of those who love you. I pray that their love for you, for each other, and for the people that they serve, that would continue to grow. God, I also pray that you protect them and their families from harm and evil, and that you work all things for their good, including any negativity that they may face as leaders. God, use it to keep them humble. God, give them thick skin, but keep their hearts soft. Lord, keep their minds sharp and their spirits wise. God, faith is following someone who knows more than we do, and you're the only one who knows the future and who knows all things. So I pray that you guide them by your Holy Spirit and by the wisdom found in the truths and principles in your holy scriptures. May they follow you as they lead others. And God, I pray your blessing and anointing on them in carrying out what you've called them to do. I pray all this to you, Father, in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ, by the power of your Holy Spirit. And in agreement, we all say, Amen.
Councilors, thank you. We'll now move on to our consent agenda. Any motions at all with the consent agenda? Councilor Starr.
I would move to approve the consent agenda.
Councilor Starr, thank you.
Erpenbach.
Councilor Erpenbach has seconded that. Any other discussion or motions? Yes, Councilor Erpenbach.
I would just make a motion, Mr. Mayor, to amend agenda item 1 by removing project numbers 11080, Highway Systems Streets, North Marion Road, grading and utility improvements, agreement for professional services, and project number 11063, 12th Street Bridge replacement, amendment to professional services agreement.
Councilor Erpenbach has made a motion to amend agenda item 1, and it was also seconded by Councilor Erickson. Any discussion on that item, Councilor Erpenbach?
Just that staff had asked that those be removed. They aren't ones to be discussed later. They are just to be removed.
Councilors, thank you very much. If there is no discussion, we'll vote on the amendment.
Council members Erpenbach,
Yes.
Kiley,
Yes.
Nitzert,
Yes.
Rolfing,
Yes.
Selberg,
Yes.
Starr,
Yes.
Staley,
Yes.
Erickson.
Yes.
Councilors, that amendment has passed 8-0. If there's no further discussion, we'll vote. Oh, yes. Councilor Rolfing?
Could somebody give me an explanation of this? I'm not aware of it, of why we are removing, and I don't remember any emails coming through explaining it. Is it an individual situation or what?
Councilor Nitzert?
I had an email exchange with Mark Cotter, and it just essentially just the contract hasn't been finished up, and they're going to bring it forward again next month, and they just requested we move it back.
That's all I needed to know. Thank you.
Very good. We have an amended main motion on the consent agenda. Roll call vote, please.
Council members Erpenbach,
Yes.
Kiley,
Yes.
Nitzert,
Yes.
Rolfing,
Yes.
Selberg,
Yes.
Starr,
Yes.
Staley,
Yes.
Erickson.
Yes.
That has passed 8-0. Thank you. Councilors, the main agenda, any changes to that? Any motions?
Move to approve, Erickson.
Second, Erpenbach.
Councilor Erickson's made a motion to approve our regular agenda for tonight, seconded by Councilor Erpenbach. Thank you. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Erpenbach,
Yes.
Kiley,
Yes.
Nitzert,
Yes.
Rolfing,
Yes.
Selberg,
Yes.
Starr,
Yes.
Staley,
Yes.
Erickson.
Yes.
That has passed 8-0. Thank you. Well, welcome tonight. We appreciate it. We've got some new faces in the audience tonight. That's great. Thank you for being here. This is an opportunity for you to engage the council really on any topic that you want. If it's an agenda item later on, we'd ask you to wait for that agenda item. Really just two things we'd ask. Just introduce yourself to the people of our town, and then if you can keep your comments to 5 minutes or less, the council would appreciate that. Welcome.
Hello, Scott Erisman, Sioux Falls. So I was watching the news the other night, and there was a gentleman on there called Lon Clemenson. He was the guy that they're going to hire to work for the Development Foundation, a bureaucrat, to do the workforce development. I'm not sure if the council was aware that they giving money to the Development Foundation for workforce development, that they were going to hire a bureaucrat to take on this thing. I was concerned about some of the things he said. He said that Sioux Falls has competitive wages. Well, yeah, I guess if you you're trying to decide if you're going to work for Rivera or McKinnon as a nurse, I'm sure those wages are competitive, or if you're going to work for Taco John's or McDonald's. But when compared to the rest of the nation, they are not competitive. He talked about quality of life, and he's right. We have a great quality of life here. But with quality of life comes also a living wage, and with the living wage comes a great quality of life. I'm very disappointed that a guy who hasn't even started his job yet, he said September 19th is when he starts, is already talking and trying to downplay wages in our community. Let's be honest here. That's number one. It's number one. It isn't about parks. It isn't about schools. It's number one. If we're going to attract people, they want to live a comfortable life. They don't want their kids getting a free meal at the school. They don't want their kids getting a free meal during the summer because they can't afford to buy them food. They don't want to go to a warehouse to get, mac and cheese. Got 40,000 pounds out there. They want to make a wage where they can live a comfortable life. That is number one. And I hope by the time he rolls into the office, he figures it out. Secondly, so I hear there are some people swimming at the aquatic center before it's not even open. I guess the explanation was they were checking security. Well, last I checked on a construction site, when I worked construction, we didn't check security or construction site in our swim trunks. I think it's disappointing that we have a publicly funded building and people are using it as a playland before we even get to go in there. And by the way, when is it opening? Nobody knows. But apparently it's good enough to go swim in there. And lastly, I want to remind all of you that we live in a democracy. And in a democracy, there's different levels of how voters and citizens participate. Number one, I encourage everyone to register to vote and to vote. If you don't, I really don't care what you have to say. Your opinion don't matter to me. Secondly, I don't know if a lot of you know this, but in Switzerland, the parliament has one of the easiest jobs in the world. They write laws based on what citizens tell them. And guess what? They don't vote on the laws. They don't pass the laws. They stick them on the ballot. And the Swiss people vote 4 times a year, and they pass the laws. And they take it real seriously. They're so serious in that country, they won't give you a citizenship if you wear sweatpants or pajamas in public. Pretty funny, huh? So I want to remind everyone, there's different courses of action. We have a city council that makes ordinances and laws. We have a petition and referendum process that makes ordinances and laws. Citizens, it's all important. They're just as important as the council or the mayor or anybody else passing any of this stuff. Sometimes we just blow off the citizens. Well, they elected me, so I guess it's my job to get things done. No, there's different steps in a democracy. There's different levels of a democracy. There's different ways of going about things. Sometimes we depend on the council. Sometimes we depend on the citizens. I want you to keep a clear mind of that with some of the things coming up. And to remember that there's some things that are above your pay rate. Thank you.
Thanks, Scott. Folks, did anybody else want to engage the council? Welcome.
Good evening. My name's Mary Shielbicey. I live here in Sioux Falls, and I'd just like to, for a couple minutes, address the proposed city administration building and the sale of the sales tax bonds. There has never been a majority support of the elected city council members for this building. Both this council and the previous council voted in a 4-4 tie. Both times the building was approved only with the tie-breaking vote of the mayor as allowed by our city charter. The only time there's been a majority vote by council members was when the current council voted to stop the sale of the bonds to fund the construction of the proposed city administration building on a 5-3 vote. And when that majority vote of the council was finally reached, it was vetoed by the mayor. 63% of the council voted to stop the sale of the bonds, not forever, temporarily. 37% of the council voted for the bond sales to go ahead. According to the Argus Leader poll posted this morning, while not scientific, consistently all day, the results have been and are at this moment 61% want the bond sales to go to a vote, and 39% want the bond sales to begin. So, Mr. Mayor, the Council's vote to stop the bond sales seems to be consistent with the will of the people. Your veto of the will of the Council could be perceived as a veto of the will of the people. Mr. Mayor, if the City Administration Building is truly a good idea, is needed, and the cost can be justified, I believe that you will be able to make that case to the good people of Sioux Falls. I believe trusting the people who elected you to the office of mayor is the right thing to do. Mr. Mayor, I respectfully ask you to recognize the vote of this council and the will of the people and stop the sale of the bonds to fund the proposed administration building. I also ask you to allow this proposal to go to a vote of the citizens of this great city. And I want to thank all of you for your time and your service to the people of Sioux Falls. Thank you.
You're welcome, Mary. Thank you. Folks, did anybody else want to engage the council? Welcome.
Bruce Danielson, Sioux Falls. I prepared some information here. Just like to read it so I get it all correct because it's kind of technical. But I start out, we citizens of Sioux Falls are asking for fairness to process. We are asking first and then demanding through our signatures our right to be part of the decision to bond for an unnecessary office building. This initiative is completely legal and part of the process. Over 5,200 of our fellow citizens have signed petitions expressing their right to be upheld. This number I calculated earlier today. I haven't been able to gather everything from what's been handed in so far this afternoon, but we're getting close to our numbers. Our laws require when signatures are collected, submitted, and certified by the city clerk, the council is legally required to set an election date. This language is not permissive. It is mandatory. Once the signatures are collected and certified, the council shall and must set an election date. What the administration and the mayor may or may not do in the future, or in this case after October 1st, is irrelevant. We expect this council to follow the law and set an election date once the signatures are verified. In fact, the council could still set an election without our signatures. South Dakota law is clear. 9-20-4, presentation of initiative petition to governing bodies, submission to voters. When a petition to initiate is filed with the finance officer shall present the petition to the governing body at its first ensuing regular or special meeting. The governing body shall submit the petition to a vote of the voters in a manner prescribed for by referendum. And in this situation, our finance officer is replaced by a full-time city clerk. Our initiative, the process, and an election is completely legal and valid today and will continue to be valid until the mayor decides to make it illegal. I cite state law in this regard. 9-20-3. Ordinance may not be initiated to nullify bond purposes. The right to initiate an ordinance shall not be applicable to ordinances proposed to nullify the purpose for which bonds have been sold by a municipality pursuant to statutory authority. And I want to emphasize in this the key phrase in this whole thing, for which the bonds have been sold. The earliest the administration and the mayor will be able to bond is October 1st. In fact, there is no legal requirement telling the administration to sell the bonds on October 1st or any time after. In fact, you can choose to never bond. By October 1st, we expect to have the signatures submitted, certified by the city clerk, and the council will have likely set an election date. This is a must and a shall. The decision is solely in the hands of you, Mr. Mayor. You can choose to honor the work, the effort, and the clear voice of the people and let an election take place, as they have so clearly have and are demonstrating they want. or you can affirmatively choose to actively ignore the will of the people and bond over their clear objection. Remember, this process and the election is completely legal until you make it illegal. Let me make this clear. This process and election are completely legal, and until you act to make it illegal, the process should continue. We are only in this situation because a city council minority's lack of preparedness or indifference for the citizens has caused this to be an emergency bordering on the outrage of the people. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Danielson. Appreciate it.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Councilor.
If I may, I would like to remind the audience that part of our policy is that you do not speak directly to or about one of the council members. You talk to the whole council. You don't single somebody out, as the mayor just was done and individual councilmen were doing. Keep it generic, or you will be gavelled. Thank you.
Welcome. Good to have you here.
Manny Steele, Sioux Falls. I really hadn't planned on talking tonight, so I don't have notes. I just want to share how I feel. And I guess what you just said, I can't point out the leader of our group. So I just feel some that are sitting up here, I don't really feel have.
Mr. Steele, I truly apologize to do this to you because you are doing a great job. Folks, you're going to have to control yourself in a professional way. It's the right thing to do, not only to be respectful to Mr. Steele, who was speaking at the time, but also being respectful for the fellow audience members here tonight who are away from their families, away from their friends, trying to do the right thing, as well as being respectful for the council. And if you can't do that, we will ask you to leave. So thank you. We appreciate that, Mr. Steele. My apologies for interrupting. Please continue, sir.
Quite all right. It's appropriate for your place to do so, I guess.
Thank you, sir.
Anyway, it's about the administration building.
Yes, sir.
And I feel there are some sitting up here that their number one concern is not what the people of Sioux Falls want and are asking for. Now, as far as the city council, you represent your district. You represent the people that have put you there. I think the people have made it very clear what they would like. They would like to have a vote on this issue. And I've talked to a lot of people, and it's got to be 7 or 8 or maybe 9 to 1. And I can only think of one that was really adamant about we need this building. Not saying we don't need the building sometime. As we grow, we need. But the way where we're at right now, it's totally inappropriate to run this thing through. And I would certainly be disappointed, and I would have to question anyone who would vote against this in the sense of, are you representing your people? I would have to question that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Steele. We appreciate your comments and certainly apologize for interrupting tonight. Welcome.
Tim Stanga. It's just amazing that we come out with this. Can't talk about one person over another person because then you'll get somebody mad, and it comes down to where the mayor comes out and he says, well, we got the troubled 5. Where was the city council when he came up and said we got the troubled 5? When the mayor comes out and says that, where's the professional that lays them out of that? Or when he chastises some of the city council in a meeting or on TV or in the news media, where's the professionalism? I go out and take signatures from people, and I'll tell you what, nothing good to say about a lot of people. If there was an election today, I think there'd be 3 people gone, and I hate to say it, but somebody else would be gone too. They're so frustrated in this town, it isn't even funny. They're so divided. You sit and talk to a lot of people in town, and yes, I did take signatures. And I talked to a lot of people. And very, very frustrated on what's going on, how money's being spent. They're frustrated on the roads. They're frustrated on how money's being spent. You know, I had some guys tell me that the reason why we watch Channel 16 is because we watch public input and then we shut it off. Because they get more out of the public input than they get out of sometimes when the city council's talking. Good part about it is you can shake your head and you can smile all you want. People are watching you on TV, so remember that, Mayor. And like I say, you know, we're not doing this for our health. We're going out talking to people. It's just like running for city council. You're talking to people. You're seeing how people are seeing what's going on in town. They do say some good things about the new city council. They say that we're going the right direction. They say that we just got to keep going that direction.
Thank you, Mr. Sting. I appreciate those comments. Folks, anybody else want to engage the council? Well, thank you very much for being here tonight. We appreciate it. Council, I'm now going to move on to item number 18.
Item 18, transfer of 2016-17 retail malt beverage license with video lottery terminals from Paradise Management Incorporated, Paradise Casino, 5109 West 12th Street, to Crown Gaming Incorporated, Paradise Casino, 5109 West 12th Street. Item 19, transfer of 2016-17 retail malt beverage license with video lottery terminals from Paradise Management Incorporated, Paradise East Casino, 1914 South Sycamore Avenue, Suite 106, to Crown Gaming Incorporated, Paradise East Casino, 1914 South Sycamore Avenue, Suite 106. New 2016 package liquor license for MF Spot Incorporated, The Barrel House, 4701 East 54th Street, pending final inspections per Fire, Health, and Building Services. Item 21, transfer of 2016 retail liquor license with Sunday sales certificate and video lottery terminals from West Winds Casino Incorporated, West Winds Casino, 4615 West Homefield Drive, to West Winds Casino Incorporated, West Winds Casino, 4609 West Homefield Drive. Item 22, new 2016-17 retail malt beverage license for Hy-Vee Incorporated, Hy-Vee number 4, 1900 South Marion Road, with conditional use permit 5165-2016, being reviewed by the Planning Commission on August 3, 2016, pending final inspections per building services. Item 23, new 2016 retail wine license for Hy-Vee Incorporated, Hy-Vee number 4, 1900 South Marion Road, with conditional use permit 5165-2016, being reviewed by the Planning Commission on August 3, 2016, pending final inspections per building services. New 2016-17 retail malt beverage license for Hy-Vee Incorporated, Hy-Vee number 1, 1601 South Sycamore Avenue, with conditional use permit 4834-2016, being reviewed by the Planning Commission on August 3, 2016, pending final inspections per building services. Item 25, new 2016 retail wine license for Hy-Vee Incorporated, Hy-Vee number 1, 1601 South Sycamore Avenue, with conditional use permit 4834-2016, being reviewed by the Planning Commission on August 3, 2016, pending final inspections per building services. Item 26, new 2016-17 retail malt beverage license for Burrito Brothers Incorporated, Pancheros Mexican Grill, 4824 South Louise Avenue, with the conditional use permit 4833-2016 being approved on July 6, 2016, pending final inspections per Fire, Health, and Building Services. Item 27, special one-day malt beverage and special one-day wine licenses for Sanford Health to be operated at 2301 East 60th Street North for a private event on August 23, 2016. Item 28, special one-day malt beverage and special one-day wine licenses for Stockyards Plaza Incorporated to be operated at the Falls Park Horse Barn, 309 East Falls Park Drive, for a fundraiser on September 20th, 2016. Item 29, special one-day malt beverage license for the banquet to be operated at Cliff Avenue Greenhouse and Garden Center, 2101 East 26th Street, for a Project SOS fundraiser on October 6, 2016. Item 30, special one-day malt beverage and special one-day wine licenses for Catering America Incorporated to be operated at Orthopedic Institute Auditorium, 810 East 23rd Street, for a holiday party on December 1st, 2016.
Jamie, good evening.
Good evening. Jamie Palmer with licensing. Items 18 and 19 are a transfer request due to a change in ownership. Item 20 is a new license request. The applicant currently holds a retail liquor license at this location and wishes to add the packaged liquor. Item 21 is a transfer just due to a change in the address. It's just simply the building number. The casino itself will not move. It just changed from 4615 to 4609. Items 22 and 23 are for the full-service restaurant Market Grill at Hy-Vee. 24 and 25 are the same, a full-service restaurant Market Grill, and they want the retail malt and wine license at both of those Hy-Vee Market Grills. Item 26 is a new restaurant, like a fast food style restaurant, that requesting a malt beverage. Item 27 through 30 are all special one-day requests. Many of the applicants are here tonight if you have any questions for them.
Jamie, thank you. Appreciate that. Councilors, any questions on any of these topics? Councilor Neitzer. Yes, sir.
I'm assuming it doesn't mean anything, but some of these say that they're being reviewed by the Planning Commission versus being approved. Is that just interchangeable?
Yeah, no, I apologize. I should have, they were approved. The way these were scheduled, we had to put that on there because they hadn't yet been before the Planning Commission, but they have now and they were approved.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Move to approve, Erickson.
Thank you, Councilor Erickson.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Staley. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Erpenbach,
Yes.
Kiley. Yes. Neitzer.
Yes.
Rolfing.
Yes.
Selberg.
Yes.
Starr.
Yes.
Staley.
Yes.
Erickson.
Yes.
Council, that has passed 8-0. Thank you. Item 31.
Set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, September 6, 2016 at 7 p.m. for item 31. An ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at 8301 West 48th Street from the RD1 Twin Home Duplex Residential Suburban District to the RD2 Townhome Residential Suburban District. Petition number 4486-2016 and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval 6-0.
Good evening, Diane DeCoyer with the Planning Office. The applicant for item 31 is Brady Hyde and the owner is Shackett Company, located south of West 48th Street and east of South Ellis Road. The size of the parcel is 4.56 acres. The purpose is to subdivide into 8 lots with 4-unit townhomes on each lot. Prior to the Planning Commission, the applicant held a neighborhood meeting to address parking, drainage, and landscape concerns. We did not have any public input at the Planning Commission hearing. I can answer any questions you might have.
Diane, thank you. Councilor Erickson.
Just a question. You said that there was a neighborhood meeting. Was there anybody in attendance? Were there any concerns at that meeting, even though they didn't speak at the planning?
According to the applicant, he was able to answer to satisfaction of the neighbors all other questions.
Thank you.
Councilors, would anybody want to set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, September 6th for this item?
So moved, Erickson.
Thanks, Councilor. Thank you, Councilor Vice Chair Kiley as well. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Erpenbach.
Yes.
Kiley. Yes. Neitzer.
Yes.
Rolfing.
Yes.
Selberg.
Yes.
Starr.
Yes.
Staley.
Yes.
Erickson.
Yes.
That has passed 8-0. Item 32.
Set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, September 6, 2016 at 7 p.m. for item 32. An ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at 5801 West Christopher Place from the RA1 Apartment Residential Low Density District to the RA2 Apartment Residential Moderate Density District, petition number 5303-2016, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval 6-0.
The applicant for this is the City of Sioux Falls Planning and Zoning Office. This is a city-initiated rezone. Location is south of West Dardanella Road and west of South Marion Road. City staff identified an existing apartment building that is 3 stories tall, which is not allowed in the RA1 zoning district. The update will correct the parcel to an RA2 zoning district, which does allow the 3 stories that exist for compliance for the shape places zoning ordinance. I can answer any questions you have.
Diane, thank you.
Move to set the date for Tuesday, September 6th.
Second, Erpenbach.
Thank you. Councilor Erickson's made a motion to set that date of hearing, seconded by Councilor Erpenbach. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Erpenbach.
Yes.
Kiley. Yes. Neitzer.
Yes.
Rolfing.
Yes.
Selberg.
Yes.
Starr.
Yes.
Staley.
Yes.
Erickson.
Yes.
That has passed 8-0. Thank you, Council. Item 33.
Set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, September 6, 2016 at 7 p.m. for item 33. An ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at 1122 East 8th Street from the RT2 Townhome Residential Traditional District to the C2 Commercial Neighborhood and Streetcar District, petition number 5250-2016, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval 7-0.
The applicant, again, for this is the City of Sioux Falls Planning and Zoning Office. The parcel is located north of East 8th Street and west of North Cliff Avenue. City staff identified an existing property that is used for retail services, which is not allowed in the RT2 zoning district. The update will correct the parcel to a C2 zoning district for compliance with the Shape Places zoning ordinance. We did have the property owner attend the Planning Commission hearing. She was inquiring about whether or not her property taxes would be affected. And of course, we provided information on that they would not be. So she was satisfied with the answer there.
Diane, thank you.
Move to set the reading for Tuesday, September 6th.
Second.
Councilor Erickson's made a motion to set that date of hearing. Thank you. Seconded by Councilor Vice Chair Kiley. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Erpenbach?
Yes.
Kiley?
Yes.
Neitzer?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
That has passed 8-0. Item 34.
Set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, September 6, 2016 at 7 p.m. for item 34. An ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, authorizing the issuance of its health facilities revenue refunding bonds, Dow Rummel Village Project, Series 2016, in an original aggregate principal amount not to exceed $24 million for the purpose of providing funds to be loaned to Dow Rummel Village, a South Dakota nonprofit corporation, for the purpose of refunding outstanding bonds, approving the form of and authorizing the execution and delivery of an indenture of trust, a loan agreement, a mortgage, 180-day redemption, security agreement and fixture financing statement, a bond purchase agreement, a continuing disclosure agreement, and a tax regulatory agreement, approving the form of and authorizing the execution and delivery of the bonds and certain related documents, making certain findings and determination with respect to the bonds, and providing for the security, rights, and remedies of the holders of the bonds.
Thank you. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, City Council. My name is Thomas Grimmond, and I'm with the firm of Doherty & Company. And our firm has been retained by Dow Rummel Village to help them refinance their 2006 bonds. Darla Van Rosendale is here from Dow Rummel, also the CEO. And Doug Hayek, who is counsel for Dow Rummel, he's back in, is here also if there's any questions.
Thank you.
The first slide is just a little bit of an agenda. The next slide, and one reason why we're here tonight is for the TEFRA hearing, the Tax, Equity, and Fiscal Responsibility Act of 1982. And this is for borrowers like Dow Rummel, who's a 501c3, to be able to issue to finance tax-exempt debt through an issuing authority like the City of Sioux Falls. There must be a hearing for interested persons to come and comment on the use of the issuer's tax-exempt status for Dow Rummel Village after sufficient notice has been given. The TEFRA notice was published on August 2nd, which was 14 days ago, meeting the requirement under the notice requirement for the TEFRA Act of 1982. On the next slide, what is a conduit financing and why is Dow Rummel Village asking the City of Sioux Falls to be the issuing authority for their debt? Dow Rummel is a 501c3, and as such, they can borrow funds through a conduit structure at a tax-exempt interest rate. The conduit, or the issuer, has the authority under federal law to issue tax-exempt bonds on behalf of the borrower, such as Dow Rummel Village. The City of Sioux Falls is such an issuing authority for tax-exempt debt. Now, normally, the city uses their issuing authority on their own debt, such as with the Denny Sanford Premier Center, where the city promises, and again, I underline, the city promises to pay back the debt with sales tax money. But in a conduit financing, and this is the key part here, in a conduit financing, the city only uses their authority to issue the tax-exempt debt on behalf of the borrower, like Dow Rummel, to achieve the tax-exempt status for Dow Rummel debt. The big difference is that the city is not liable for the Dow Rummel debt. The city makes no promise to pay debt service. This is not a city project. As I mentioned, this is a refinancing of the Dow Rummel 2006 bonds, where the City of Sioux Falls was the conduit the issuing authority for the bonds at that time. Because interest rates have improved and the bonds will be callable on November 15th, Dalrymple is looking at a significant savings by refinancing their debt, and they'd like to do that with the continued help of the City of Sioux Falls. Next slide. This is the most important part of the presentation. As in past, 2002, when Dalrymple Village financed the initial building project with the city as the issuing authority, and in 2006 with the first refinancing, and then now today's request, the city is not liable for the debt service as the issuing authority. The bondholders have an interest in the revenues of Dalrymple and a mortgage on the property. The city only acts as the issuing capacity for Dalrymple and can borrow at a tax-exempt interest rate. So let's examine, this was presented to me, what about a worst-case scenario? Dalrymple goes bankrupt a year from now. In this situation, where the city is just the conduit financer or the issuing authority, the bondholders' only recourse would be to Dalrymple and not to the city. The city makes no promise to pay debt service in the ordinance. And I think if you read in section 10, it states that numerous times. The trustee would take control of the facility, and bondholders would only have a right to foreclose on the property, the mortgage that they have, to sell and recuperate their investment in the facility. The bondholders would have no other recourse to the city. There would be no impact, the next slide, there would be no impact to the city's bonding capacity, debt limit, or bond rating. Darla, would you like to say something? She'll give you the background about Dalrymple a little bit here.
Darla, thank you. Welcome. Good to have you here.
Thank you. Darla Van Rosendale, CEO at Dalrymple. The City of Sioux Falls has been the issuer for tax-exempt bonds for Dalrymple twice in the past 14 years, which have been used to finance expansions on our campus, and we want to thank you for doing that for us. We have doubled the size of our campus because of those expansions, allowing us to provide services to more seniors in Sioux Falls. Currently, about 275 residents live at Dalrymple. As a nonprofit, being able to use tax-exempt bonds help us keep the costs for expanding our services down, which are savings that benefit the residents of Dalrymple. Because of the expanded services, we've also been more than doubled our staff since 2002. We currently have 235 staff and a payroll of about $6 million, which is money that is spent here in Sioux Falls, helping to boost our city's economy. As Tom mentioned a few minutes ago, the city is not liable for nor financially responsible for the bonds. Dalrymple is solely responsible to the bondholders for repayment of these bonds, and our Board of Trustees and management take that responsibility very seriously. Dalrymple is proud of the fact that we are a locally governed and locally run business and have been a part of this great city of Sioux Falls for 53 years. Thank you for your past support and your consideration to be a conduit for this bond issuance for tax-exempt bonds for Dalrymple.
Darla, thank you. This is a first reading, so I'm going to go right to the council. Council, any questions or comments on this? Councilor Buck.
Tom, could you come back for a second?
Tom.
Please. Just very basic. This is, we have done this before as a community, but just to remind folks that are listening and in the audience, can you remind us, first of all, what's a 501c3?
A not-for-profit organization entity.
Okay. And then why is Dalrymple eligible for this kind of a financing package when maybe other organizations are not?
They are a 501c3, and that as a 501c under IRS regulations, they can borrow money as a tax-exempt. They can borrow money via tax-exempt interest.
But with the city's help, so I mean, there's a lot of 501c3s in this town that could now be coming to us and asking for us to help them get tax-exempt bonds. Yes,
there could be.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, if they didn't know about it until just now, maybe. But again, you laugh, you snicker. I caused that. I'm sorry, Mayor. But anyway, that is the case. But again, with Dalrymple and with other 501c3s, they have to have the revenue to support the project that they want financed. So not all 501c3s are going to be able to come to the city and ask them for financing. Most of the 501c3s or not-for-profits, they go through a fundraising process to generate enough money to be able to build their projects, because there's no way to, they don't have the revenue stream to be able to generate, to pay for debt service. So that's what would preclude, maybe say, you know, not to pick on anybody, the first one that comes to mind is Special Olympics. There would be no way for us, for them to come in and ask you, and then for someone like me who sells bonds to go out and sell bonds on pledges for Special Olympics. They built a great building. They got some great people to contribute money, and that's awesome. They, like I said, they just built that building out there. But we wouldn't have been able to sell bonds on that.
Right, good, thank you.
So hopefully that answered your question.
Yes, you did,
and that
thank
keeps
you.
everybody from coming in here asking.
Right. Mr. Mayor, I see that Attorney Doug Hayek is standing in the audience. Could I ask him to come forward as well and help explain that?
Mr. Hayek, welcome. Good to have you here tonight, sir.
Maybe you could help clarify for us, Mr. Hayek.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Welcome.
And Counselor, my name is Doug Hayek from Sioux Falls. I'm with the Davenport Evans Law Firm. We represent Dow Rummel, and I also serve as bond counsel on transactions. You know, generally with tax-exempt bonds, they're issued for a governmental purpose, but which would be, for example, like a sewer and water system, or something like the Denny Sanford Premier Center, those types of things. That's the most common use for it. But the federal tax code does make provision for 501c3 organizations. Those are a particular kind of nonprofit. Not every nonprofit is a 501c. 501c3 organizations have to be organized specifically for the purpose of charitable types of operations. And when you make a contribution to a 501c3, it's deductible for federal tax purposes. So it's a special kind of nonprofit. And we have many nonprofits in our 501c3 organizations in our city. And they're given this special opportunity to go to a governmental issuer for conduit financing, because in most cases they're providing some kind of a service that in some cases would be a burden on government. That's kind of the rationale for it. And so in the case of Dow Rummel, they've had a 501c3 status for many, many years. And then, as you know, 2002 was when these bonds were first issued, and then they were refunded in 2006 to take advantage of interest rate improvements. And we've got further improvement now with the financial markets as they are. And so that's the purpose of going forward with this now. But as Mr. Grimman pointed out, there is no legal or moral responsibility for the payment of these bonds on the part of the city. And as far as, I think there was a question, you had a question about how many organizations would come forward. Well, it's true that most other nonprofits would be eligible for this kind of financing, but there is the practical side of it. Can they actually find someone who would purchase the bonds? Not every organization would be able to do that. In Dow Rummel's case, they're established as an issuer, and people recognize their name and their financial standing, that sort of thing. Most of the time, 501c3 organizations are going to small issuers because if you issue more than $10 million worth of bonds in a year, you're not eligible for bank qualification. You often hear about organizations, governmental entities only being able to issue $10 million per year. That's not exactly true. Obviously, in the case of Sioux Falls, you issue a lot more than that, depending on the circumstances. But in this case, the bond purchasers are not going to be banks, so bank qualification is not a consideration in this case. And so I think, as Mr. Grimman has pointed out, it would be unlikely that there's going to be a flood of requests to the city of Sioux Falls for this kind of thing.
Great. Thank you very much. I appreciate the clarification.
Thanks. Councilor Starr, did you have some questions, sir?
Yes, absolutely.
Councilor Starr.
Mr. Hayek, you might be able to answer this for me. Not necessarily in this case, but in general, why would a group choose the city to act as a conduit versus the county or another unit of government? Is there some specific benefit for using the city?
No, not necessarily. It's in the case of the county does issue these types of bonds from time to time. Typically, county government does not issue a lot of its own bonds, and as a result of that, they are more frequently in a position to meet that small issuer test. That is, where they issue fewer than $10 million per year. And for cases like that, generally speaking, the purchasers are banks. And here, where we're dealing with a larger issue, banks won't be the purchasers. It'll be other investment houses where the bank qualification aspect is not a consideration.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Councilors, great job. Oh, I'm sorry, Councilor Vice Chair Kiley.
More of a comment than a question, and thank you, Tom and Darla and Doug, for all of the information. It's good to know that it's allowed under IRS regulations and federal tax code. But what's most important to me is the services and the housing options that it is providing to the citizens of Sioux Falls. There's 275 residents that have sound housing and services provided to them every day. And it's a great service, and very much in favor of this.
Councilor, would you want to set a date of hearing, second reading for Tuesday, September 6th for the particular item?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilor Vice Chair. Thank you, Council Chair Rolfing. Thank you. Councilor Starr, you just missed it. Sorry.
I'll get the next one.
Yes, you will, sir. If there's no further questions, a roll call vote, please.
Council members Erpenbach?
Yes.
Kiley?
Yes.
Neitzert?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
That is passed 8-0. Thank you, Council. Item 35.
Public hearing for public input regarding the proposal to issue revenue bonds in a principal amount not to exceed $24 million, the bonds, pursuant to South Dakota Codified Laws, Chapter 9-54, as amended, the Act, in order to refinance a project on behalf of Dow Rummel Village, a South Dakota nonprofit corporation formerly known as Rummel Memorial Home Incorporated, the corporation, which operates nursing home, health care, and housing facilities for the elderly in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. See Agenda Item 34.
Very good. Is there anyone in the audience who wanted to speak to this item? Thank you. We appreciate that. This is a public hearing. If there's no comments, Tracy, do we just move on to item 35? Thank you, Tracy. Appreciate. Thanks for being here tonight. And again, Thomas, Darla, Doug, and the rest of the folks in the audience, we appreciate your presence here tonight as well. Councilors, if there's no other comments, I'm going to move on to item 35 with your permission. 36. Very good, councilors. Thank you. Item 36.
Item 36, a resolution approving a joint powers agreement between the Office of Attorney General, Division of Criminal Investigation, Minnehaha County Sheriff's Office, and the Sioux Falls Police Department, Sioux Falls Area Drug Task Force.
Did anybody want to speak to this particular item here in the audience tonight, or Councilor? Yes, welcome. Good to have you here. Thank you. I was hoping someone was going to step up. Thank you.
Good evening. Blaine Larson, I'm with the police team, the investigations commander. And what this document is it's simply laying out on paper what we've been practicing in the Drug Task Force for a number of years. We operate with the Division of Criminal Investigations, the Sheriff's Office. We also have a standing invite for other communities in the region, such as Brandon, Lincoln County, other law enforcement areas. We also have federal partners, ATF, DEA, for example, that participate. And this is basically this is your drug task force for Sioux Falls. This lays out some of the liability concerns we had as far as, if there's an accident with one of the vehicles, who's paying for it? If there's an issue within the unit, who handles discipline issues? It'd be the own agency that the agent works for. So it's just some common sense write-up that we wanted to have put on paper.
Thanks for being here tonight. We appreciate that. Folks, is there anybody else who wanted to engage the council on this topic? Very good. Councilors?
Move to approve, Erpenbach.
Second, Erickson.
Councilor Erickson, you got that one in first. Councilor Urbanbach, you were real close for second. Thank you both. Is there any other comments? Very good. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Erpenbach?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Neitzert?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
That has passed 8-0. Thank you, councilors. Item 37.
Item 37, a resolution authorizing Siouxland Libraries to gift shelving and 4 children's tables to the Garrettson School District.
Mary, welcome.
Thank you. Mary Johns, Library Director. This is shelving that we haven't used in a very long time, and excess shelving, and we've been working with the Garrettson School District to assist them with developing their library, so it seems appropriate to give them some shelving that we aren't using, as well as there are 4 children's tables that we've no longer used, and quite honestly, none of these are in premier shape, so this puts them to good use.
Mary, thank you. Folks, is there anybody in the audience who want to speak to this particular item? Yes, Councilor Neitzert.
As a graduate of Garrettson High School, I will move to approve.
Thank you, Councilor Neitzert.
Starr.
Councilor Starr, thank you.
I was going to get it.
Are you're a graduate too? No.
No,
You're
gosh,
a
no.
Sioux Falls boy.
I'm a Buck.
So, you're a Yankton Buck. Very good.
That's
That's
right.
even better. Thank you. Thank you so much. Any comments? Mary, don't give away all of our stuff before you leave now. Very good.
We still have her resignation to vote on,
We
don't
do. Yes, that's coming later.
I think shelving is okay to
That's
give
right.
away.
A roll call vote, please. Thank you, councilors.
Council members Erpenbach?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Neitzert?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Council, that has passed 8-0. Item 38.
Item 38, a resolution authorizing Sioux Falls Fire Rescue to gift 20 sets of fire turnout gear to the Henry, South Dakota Fire Department.
All right. Does anyone want to speak to this item for the city? I guess Tracy's gone. Folks, it looks like we're giving away some fire turnout gear.
Yes, and if I
Tom?
may, Mr.
Thanks,
Mayor,
Tom.
there was some confusion in the course of putting the agenda together, and I tried contacting the fire chief. However, they did submit this on time, and it is for those 20 sets of turnout gear.
Okay. It looks like it's going to a great cause, the Henry, South Dakota Fire Department. Councilors, I hope you'll agree.
Move to approve, Erickson.
Councilor Erickson wants to, and Councilor Kiley, or Vice Chair Kiley wants to do it as well. Thank you. Council Chair, sorry you missed it.
I might comment that they have a great steakhouse in Henry.
Very good. Very good. Let's wait. Folks, is there anybody in the audience who wanted to speak to this item? Very good. Thank you. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Erpenbach?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Neitzert?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
That has passed 8-0. Item 39, please.
A resolution advising and giving consent to the appointment of members to certain citizen boards.
Now, would you mind reading those, please? Thank
Yes.
you, Thomas.
Rob Collins, Board of Historic Preservation. Ted Hurt, Board of Museum Trustees. Allison Struck, Board of Museum Trustees. Allison Dvorak, Building Board of Appeals. Brad Shoup, Electrical Board of Appeals and Examiners. Lester Kinstad, Homeless Advisory Board. Matt Peterson, Property Maintenance Board of Appeals. Ronald Rentsberger, Property Maintenance Board of Appeals. Ronald Salby, Property Maintenance Board of Appeals. Brett Glerbus, Public Transit Advisory Board. Philip Jacobson, Public Transit Advisory Board. Benjamin Teensfold, Solid Waste Planning Board. Rich Gary, Washington Pavilion Management Incorporated Board of Directors.
Very good. Well, we thank those citizens for that. Yes, Councilor Erickson.
Mr. Mayor, if I
Yes.
may, are any of the people in attendance that are being appointed to this board? If you are, can I ask that they maybe stand? If not, that's okay. They're not required to be here, but oftentimes we have people that come, and I think that it's important that we
Great job.
put a face with a name and recognize
Councilor
them.
Erickson, thank you. Folks, any of the stewards, citizen stewards here tonight that Tom just read? All right. Well, great. But thank you. That's a great point, Councilor Erickson. Thank you. Would you want to make a motion?
Sure, move to approve, Erickson.
Councilor Erickson, thank you.
Second.
Councilor Vice Chair Kiley, thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Councilor Starr,
I'm
please.
just questioning on the agenda. Were there some names that weren't on this list? I saw the other names on SIRE, but I didn't necessarily see them as part of. Am I missing?
Yes, Council Member, it's possible that the notes you're looking at might have a portion cut off, but those are the names that are on the resolution.
Okay, I was just going by the agenda. I
That
just
there
wanna
were
make sure
no
that we've
names
noticed.
specifically on the agenda.
Okay.
They might be in separate notes that you have.
Yeah, because I saw the other names. Are we okay notice-wise with the
Yes.
agenda this way? Thank you. I know you said that earlier, so.
Good job. I think we're in good hands with you, Mr. Greco and David. But good question, Councilor Starr. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Erpenbach?
Yes.
Kylie?
Yes.
Neitzer?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Selberg?
Yes.
Starr?
Yes.
Staley?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
That has passed 8-0. Thank you. Councilors, you've been here since 3 o'clock. I don't know if the people of Sioux Falls realize that, but they've been working on the budget since 3, and many of them have been working even prior to that. So did anybody else want to engage the council? No. In fact, you probably want to go home. Very good. Councilor Erickson wants to get out of here. I don't blame her. And Councilor Chair Rolfing wants to do the same. I don't blame him. A roll call. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This meeting is adjourned. Thank you, City Council, for your efforts. People of Sioux Falls, thank you as well. Make it a great, great night.